Did you know that if you simply improve in one aspect of your life by 1% each and every day, that you'll be more than 30 times better by the end of the year? Whereas the opposite scenario, if you become 1% worse by the end of the year, you'll basically reduce that skill to nothing. Now, I can apply this as a trader. Let's say that I start with $1,000 at the beginning of the year and I make 1% each and every day. By the end of the year, I will have turned that 1K into $24,000. Yes, that's right. I earned $23,000 by simply earning 1% per day. And this is the power of compound interest, which applied to life is basically the principle of slow, steady, continuous improvements. And in Japan, they call this Kaizen. And this is a philosophy that they deeply believe in and adhere to. So it is clear that our habits are the compound interest of the slow, steady improvements that we make. In other words, we get what we tend to repeat, but we don't always see the results right away. The outcomes are actually a lagging measure of our habits. Now, it's hard to wrap our head around this a lot of the times as human beings because we are impatient on the whole and we tend to want that fast result. But if you think about the analogy of there's a very specific bamboo tree that grows in China that actually takes 5 years to send down and establish its root system before it even starts to grow on the surface. But then as soon as it starts to grow after that 5-year period has completed, it actually will rapidly shoot up. I think it's 60 or 90 feet in a matter of a couple short months. Now, many people who are observing this phenomena might think, wow, that tree grows really fast, but they didn't see all the growth that happened beneath the surface. A perfect example of this in the human realm are people who we consider to be an overnight success. They're instantly famous. One day they're nobody, the next day they have millions of fans and or followers. And now these people most likely spent many years, even decades, refining their skills, working at their craft, working really, really hard behind the scenes in private. And then eventually one day they had that hit song or that book that just broke out, that video that went viral. And we see it as something that just was by chance, it was luck. But in reality, they had habits in play that they were making continuous improvements. They were perfecting their craft to such an extent that it was inevitable that they would be noticed and honored in public. And they say that we are honored in public for what we do in private. And a lot of the times, many of us believe mistakenly that we are going to suddenly reach this level where we are immediately successful, but aren't able or willing to put in the work that is necessary to get there. The biggest culprit leading to ultimate disappointment is our goals. And ironically, most every book you read is going to tell you that you need to list off all your goals and have definite deadlines for when you plan to reach those goals. But that's so far from reality because in reality, what's more important than having an expectation at a certain time that if I do this, then this will happen, setting yourself up essentially for disappointment. The most important aspect is having a system or knowing exactly how you're going to play the game, knowing what your process is that's going to lead you to that goal and focusing on that process each and every day instead of just visualizing some goal that's far off in the future. Think about exactly how am I going to move in this direction. It's more important, I believe, that we have a very focused process. So I can give you examples as a trader. For me, when I started out, I was studying very specific courses on a daily basis, multiple courses over many, many months. And I was also applying these principles through back testing, and I was taking trades. I was getting practice on smaller accounts. I was making slow, steady improvements. And of course, I had the goal of being a self-sustaining trader and not needing to rely on any other income. But I wasn't so fixated on that goal that I became disappointed or had expectations that made me angry or impatient. I was more enjoying the process itself. When you're in your process and you're developing your systems, refining your skills, making slow, steady improvements in alignment with the Japanese principle of Kaizen, what happens is that you're basically on a super highway toward your goals without even knowing it. And even though everyone around you probably doesn't see the progress that you're making, and you might not even see it yourself, that's the irony of the whole situation. One day, you just have arrived because you have shaped your entire life around this new identity that you are creating. And I think there's a lot of faith and conviction that lies behind any successful individual, and often to the point of a certain level of delusion, at least in other people's eyes. You have to have such strong belief in what you're doing, and you have to have passion for what you're doing to where you actually find it enjoyable. And you find that there's certain moments when you're absorbed in that task where time goes out the window and you find that you are more present than ever. And these are signs, I believe, that we're headed in the right direction on the path. So I hope that you found this inspirational. I'm just sharing stream of consciousness, sharing from my heart. And of course, if you want to learn more about my offerings as a trader, you can find the link down in the description below. Have a beautiful rest of your day.